I do not endorse the use of profanity, but I also do not endorse the fact that one could be prosecuted for the use of profanity. Hello people, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time on the channel, a special welcome to you. I ask that you check out the rest of my videos. If you like what you see, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, but more than anything, I'm asking that you subscribe to the channel. For my Jamaican and my Caribbean people, today I'm going to cuss a whole heap of bad word on the channel. For the rest of my audience, today I have to be using some cultural profanities in my arguments to make it clear towards my subscribers, viewers, and myself included. So, all my Jamaican and some Caribbean viewers who do not like to hear the vocal utterances of Jamaican bad words, I'm gonna ask you guys to kindly skip out of this one because I don't want you guys to feel offended, and I don't want to waste too much time explaining in the commentary as to why that word was used or why that word wasn't used. So in a kind and nice way, I'm just asking you to skip this video and you guys can catch me on my next video. But today I'm gonna be discussing what is legally termed in Jamaica as the Town and Communities Act. The Town and Communities Act in Jamaica is a legal script that warrants the arrest and prosecution of people on the island of Jamaica that uses Jamaica bad words. Initially, this was a surprise to me. And it was a surprise to me because as much as I've studied law, I have not studied Jamaican law. But like law worldwide, law books are indexes of rules and regulation, and no one is quite aware of the laws of a country until it pertains to them or until it has drawn some interest to that particular person's case or circumstances. Thus, my recent discovery of the Town and Communities Act in Jamaica. Bad words in Jamaica can actually be punishable under the law. I didn't know that. Firstly, I'm gonna have to say profanity varies. Profanity varies from country to country, it varies from culture to culture, and sometimes profanity varies to race. So what I'm saying, what's vulgar in one country may not be seen vulgar in another country. What's deemed profane in one country may not deem profane in another country. Anyway, when it comes to Jamaica and Jamaican patois, there are certain words that Jamaicans use that are only offensive to Jamaicans. To the rest of the world, it means absolutely nothing, or to the rest of the world, it is humorous and ridiculous. Bad words, as we call them in Jamaica, they vary. And I'm gonna run off a few bad words off the top of my head that I know in Jamaica that will only be offensive to Jamaican, and then again it depends on how it is used. So Jamaica has blood clot, bumper clot, ras clot, pussy clot, and that's about it. That's pretty much all the ones that I know. Oh, they've got Batman, and those 5 words I think are only seen as vulgar or profane in Jamaica, and you have to say it with the Jamaican accent, because if they've said any other way, it is ridiculous. We would laugh. I mean, I, like all Jamaicans that have lived overseas, I've had the experience where a non-Jamaican asks us to define a word that we used in Jamaica and we could not define it. I mean, we know how to use it, we know how to take offense to it, but we could not really give this foreigner an explanation of what exactly is bumbo clot and what exactly is blood clot. We don't even know, is it cloth that we actually use as a material, textile, or is it clot, a made up word? I mean, there's no real definition around it, you know? So to learn that we could actually be prosecuted for the use of this language. On one hand, it was ridiculous and comical to me. On the other hand, it was very serious. And when I go back to the origins of when this law was written, we realize that the land of Jamaica never really had any full freedom. The people of Jamaica never really had any full freedom, and the term democracy has to be a sham, because that sounds more like some dictatorship thing to me rather than a democratic society which allow people an extent of freedom. I mean, freedom of speech should be the number one freedom that all human beings on earth should have. Say what you want to say, whether it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. Freedom on a whole is a right that people should have. And within those freedoms, it should include freedom of expression. Express yourself however you want to express yourself. Because, like I say, most profanity are cultural, they're regional, and some profanity are international. For example, let's say the N-word. I guess everybody in the world knows now that N-word should be an offensive term towards black people. And I believe that the N-word came out of slavery. It was a name that our slave masters or people who looked down on black called black people. Outside of that, it doesn't really have any definition, to my knowledge. You know, the N-word to me is a ridiculous, offensive word for the simple fact that, to me, as a writer, as a wordsmith, if a word is offensive, it should have no partiality. It should be 100% offensive. So you can't say if a white person uses the N-word, it's offensive, and then if a black person uses the N-word, it's okay, it's cool. To me, that's conflicting. If the word is offensive, the word is offensive. But when it comes to Jamaican profanity, blood, we know what blood is. It's not an offensive word. Bumbo, I don't know what bumbo is. You know, ras, I don't know what ras is. I just know that it's an offensive word used by Jamaicans, in particularly old Jamaicans used to use the word ras. Pussy, well, pussy has two definitions. Pussy relates to a cat, and particularly a kitten, and then while using it in a slang, it could be seen as disparaging and offensive. But outside of that, those words kind of stand on their own, and they don't really have an offense. Where the clot or cloth comes in, I have no real clue. However, as a culture, as a Jamaican, we took on the fact that as Jamaicans, we're going to call these our curse words, and we're going to use them as profanity. So some people tend to use profanity as an emphasis of anger during expression, or the lack of use or the refraining of using curse words or Jamaican bad words in Jamaica really puts you in a class of decency, you know, a class of an intellectual. You know, my mother used to say, he who cannot express himself without the use of profanity is a dunce. So I'm not saying I endorse profanity. I do not endorse the use of profanity, but I also do not endorse the fact that one could be prosecuted for the use of profanity. Andre Orton, who is a member of the People's National Party, he is the one that's trying to put this Town and Communities Act under review, and in his argument he's actually trying to rid the fact that one should be prosecuted for the use of profanity, especially in the dancehall scene, because his argument was like, people overseas are making money from the use of Jamaican bad words. People overseas are actually titling some of their musical events with the use of Jamaican bad words. So it would be ridiculous that Jamaicans can't use their own bad word and people overseas are using it freely and profiting from it. So I do agree with Andre Orton in that sense. I do agree with him 100%. But my argument has very little to do with the support of bad words being used in dancehall or using them to title musical event. My argument is Jamaicans should be free in all sense of freedom, especially when it comes to a sense of expressing themselves. So if Jamaicans want to say words that equates to gibberish, then they're allowed to say that. They shouldn't be held punishable because they said a made-up word that only has a different definition in Jamaica or within their own little circle. I mean, the N-word has gone universally wild as an offensive word, while the opposite of N-word is cracker. Cracker, which can be defined as something we eat. And cracker also can be defined as the N-word for white people. But it's not gone universal because maybe the world's a bit more sensible. Maybe white people did not enforce an offense towards that word enough, so it continued to be used. Cracker this, cracker that, let me get a cracker, Polly want a cracker, cracker and cheese. It's a stupid word to be deemed as offensive. Just the same as bumbleclot, rasclot, bloodclot, pussyclot, and Batman. They're stupid words. But at the same time, by me calling them stupid, when it comes to the region of Jamaica, I respect the fact that it is deemed offensive. Whether it's universally spoken words that are deemed offensive or just locally used words that are deemed offensive, I still say people should not be prosecuted for the mere words that come out of their mouth. Unless it's a threat. Unless it's a threat towards one life. People should be prosecuted for threatening people, for threatening people's life. But people should not be prosecuted just for a mere word. So I'm 100% behind Andre Orton with that. That needs to come off the books. Free my people. Let my people go. Get the shackles off their feet. This is 2019. No one needs to be going to jail or being prosecuted or fined just for the use of profanity. Anyway, people, without dragging this one out, let me know if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, still let me know why. Because on this channel, like I always say, I accept thumbs up, thumbs down, agreement, disagreement, because at the end of the day, what? Each one teach one. Until next time, people. Peace.